Hey, before we get started on today's episode, we have a quick disclaimer for you. Constable Bean is a little rowdy, and there might be a bit of cursing involved throughout our episodes. We are all about sharing authentic well being journeys, even if they're not always pretty, because, it'd be like that sometimes. So we want you to feel super comfortable and respected while you're tuning into our podcast. So if you're easily offended by colorful language. That was a great way of putting it. Great job, Jade. This podcast might not be for you, and that is okay. But we wish you well always. Now, let's jump into today's episode. Okay, chip, chip, cheerio. Here we go. Are we ready?
Yeah.
I didn't mean for it to rhyme. But it happened like that. Let's get into it. Yeah, wait, how does Doja Cat do it? You know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Mm-mm.
You don't know. When she's like, get into it, yeah. Like she does that. That's fine. Okay, let's get into it. All right. So today we're talking about friends. How many of us have them? I practice that. Did you hear like how I was like? I feel like that was a good harmony that I had. I felt really good about that. Anyways, fine. We're talking about friends, and can I tell you where this idea came from?
Yes, tell me.
Okay, so first, I feel like I'm an adult, right? And I feel like making a friend as an adult is a little bit
So
more
hard.
difficult, right? Like it's kind of difficult. Like it's like, oof. Like I feel like as an adult, you're a little bit more particular about the friends that you keep around you. It's also like difficult to make friends because really it's easier to make friends when you're a kid because you're like around them all the time at school or whatever or in college. And then you become an adult and it's like you just go to work and either you have work friends or you make new friends. But making new friends as an adult, I think, in my opinion, is hard. So I made a new friend, right? And I'm so happy. Love her. She's great. And we were getting drinks after, like, we did a yoga workshop and stuff like that, which honestly, it went well. I'll tell you about it later. Anyways, we hosted a yoga, Reiki infused session along with like a sound bath, and it was really pretty. Anyways, so we did that together, and then we went out to drinks afterwards to celebrate because balance. And she was telling me, she was like, um, I very much appreciate like the energy that you have around like being like a supportive friend and stuff. And I was like, oh, that's so nice. I honestly didn't even think of that. Like, I don't know. Like, it was just like, I don't know. I feel like I'm always like trying to uplift people that I'm with
Mm-hmm.
because why not? Right. And she was like, that's just so rare to have someone that does that. Like, I definitely notice it and I appreciate you for that. And I was like, oh, that's so great. But also, like, I feel like the people that I normally keep around me are so uplifting and stuff like that. And so it got me thinking of how difficult it must be to not have like uplifting friendships or like people that like inspire you and stuff like that. And so that is
Mm-hmm.
where the conversation of friendships came up because I feel like that really impacts your well being. Like, not having friends that are like supporting you and stuff like that, that's kind of a downer, Like, that's kind of a dud. So I wanted to talk
Mm-hmm.
about that. So,
I think this is a great
that's
topic, actually, because I think, at least this is just my perception on it, is I feel like in different stages of your life, you have different friends, and every friend brings you something different. Whether it's like you have a friend that they're like your absolute best friend and then something happens and you don't really like that, you learn from it, right? Or you have those friends that are super uplifting or the friends that are super honest with you, right? and
yes.
and I think having those different types of friends in different moments of your life is actually fantastic. I mean, I think some of them are hard, but you learn from them, and other ones, like a friend, I feel like they just bring you joy and happiness. And it's like you choose your friends, and it's not like you're stuck with your family, right? It's interesting to see, like, especially in like high school, right? You have your group of friends, then you go off either into the workforce or college, and then you meet new people, and those people become your friends, right? And then then say you're in the workforce longer, there's different moments of your life where you meet different people. And it's so interesting how you kind of, because I think you change as a person as you get
Yeah.
older, and then your
Hmm.
friends are different.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's sometimes you grow together and sometimes you grow apart. And that is,
100%.
yeah, that is a part of life. But I agree with you. I think it's interesting to see like which friends are able to make it through different seasons with you.
Hmm.
I feel like I'm very lucky. I feel like a lot of my friends have made it through a lot of seasons with me. You being one of them, like, girl, we've been friends like for how long? Crazy.
Since
Um,
what, 2016?
it's been a while, like it's coming up on like 10 years. So, and I've
That's
been
so
through a lot of
crazy.
seasons. Yeah. And so I mean, a lot of my friends, also, I do keep a small like circle though. Do you have a big friend circle? What are your thoughts on that?
Mine is small. I
Okay.
would say I have like a lot of acquaintances,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't consider all of them like friends.
Okay.
Like there are some people that are like, oh yeah, we could hang out, we could talk if I run into them, or I'll see them occasionally, but I wouldn't say they're my friend. Because for me, I think I take friendship a little bit too seriously. I think that's why.
No, I'm excited to hear how you define it because when I tell you my thoughts on it, you're about to be like, actually, maybe I'm not so extreme. So you go first, Aileen. This is gonna be great for me. Yeah, go ahead.
I think for someone, if you are my friend, I go above and beyond for you, right? Like, for instance, if you were to call me, Jade, and you're like, I'm dying, I need you, and you need to fly up here, I'd figure out how to get there, even if I drove 7 hours to get there, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I know you're struggling with something, right? If there's something I could do to help you, I would help you. But I think if you're really my friend, what you really get out of it is honesty. Like but honesty from, I don't want to put you down. I want to build you up, but I'm going to be fully honest with you because I think a lot of friends or acquaintances are not fully honest, right? They go around you, they have fun, and then they leave. But when the going gets rough, they're not there. Or when they ask you for honest feedback, a lot of people will hesitate to tell them, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, if you're my true friend and I have that trust with you, I'm going to be fully transparent with you, but it's because I mean well. And I think some people have interpreted that of like, oh, Eileen's just harsh. And she's like, and it's not real. It's, I care so much about you. I'm going to let you know and then you make your decision, but I'm 100% behind you. Um, but I feel like if you're my friend, like I'm loyal till the day we're not friends anymore. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very hard for someone to become my friend. Like I really need to trust you. If I don't trust you, it's not happening.
How do you get to that point where you make a new friend? Like say right now,
It is so
tomorrow,
hard.
you're trying to make a new friend. Like what would be your steps in making a new friend? I want to know.
Let me like let me just tell you, like making new friends when you're in an outside setting is so hard. And like when I moved to Northern California, one, Northern California is very different than Southern California. You think you're in the same state and it'd be the same. It's not. And when I moved up there, I had one friend and it was in the middle of COVID and we lived in the same apartment building. That was it. And going to work and trying to make friends was so hard. And like, no, it was COVID too. Like people didn't want to be around you. They didn't want to make friends. And so I remember I was at this place and no one would talk. And I'd be like, oh, good morning. Like they wouldn't even say good morning to each other. I was like, what's wrong with these people? And I remember I became the good morning police. Then you know how you have to like book a room and you have to like book it like through the email to like reserve the room in like an office, right?
At work. Okay, got it.
Yeah, I didn't
Mhm.
know how to do that yet because you know how it's always like dumb, some weird dumb code and then the room number.
Yeah.
So I was new and my boss was coming into town and it was funny because he's like, "Can you book a room?" And I'm sitting there, I'm like, "I don't fucking know how to book a room." Like, I don't know the code. And so I remember when I left my office, there's this girl that sat in like one of the cubicles. And so I went up to her. Mind you, I hadn't really, I would just say hi and good morning, but I didn't really talk to her, right? And I remember going up to her with my boss. I said, "Hey, I don't know how to book a room. Do you think you could book one for me or show me how?" She's like, "Yeah, of course." And she's like, "I already booked this one for you, whatever, whatever." And she's like, "It's booked for the rest of the week for your boss."
Oh, that's
And I
nice.
said, "Oh, okay, thank you so much." I remember leaving that day. I said, "She's gonna be my friend. That girl is gonna be my friend." And we are friends still to this day, even though I've left, right? But I remember then from there it was like, okay, like I'm I'm just gonna say hi to her now or like whatever, right? And then we had a new girl that was moving from a different state and she's coming to California. And her boss said, "Oh, why don't you reach out to Aileen? She just moved. Maybe she can tell you like the different like apartments and stuff she had looked at." So she had reached out to me on Teams. So when she came, I was like, "Oh, hey, like you're finally here. Nice to meet you." It's so weird because you're not like a kid and you're not, it's like a workplace setting, right?
Yeah.
But I think outside of a workplace setting, it's like I met like I would say like three really good friends that I still talk to now. But outside of that setting, it's very difficult to meet people. And it's hard for me to trust them
Yeah.
until I get to know them. Right. So
Mhm.
it's like you go to like these little work events or things like that. Or if you sit next to them, like I'm telling you right now, I'm been at my new company for about a year and a half. Out of my whole entire team of how many of us are there? There's six, seven, eight of us just in the US, and the rest of the team is somewhere else. Out of all of them, I only trust one fully.
See, that makes sense. I feel like it's hard, especially at work. You know what I'm saying? Like work friendships are first of all,
They're different.
work friendships will get you through the day. Like make no mistake, if you're at work and you are like by yourself, you're a strong person because I have never been able to like get through whatever without having like a buddy. Like
Hmm.
a work buddy definitely makes things better. Wait, okay, wait. Hold on, let me read this stat for you because I did take some stats. A poll found that having a best friend at work can lead to a 50% increase in job satisfaction and significantly increase engagement levels. See? So I didn't just make it up.
I
Um,
agree 100% though.
yeah,
Why? Like here, I don't feel like you remember when we used to work together,
of
right?
course. It's good times.
All it was great times. All seven of us, I wouldn't say we were all super close, but all seven of us interns were friends because it was like you're classified in this intern group and like you're kind of forced to work with each other and sit all next to each other.
Hmm.
And we are all around like the same age. I think we could relate a lot.
Yeah.
And even from when I got hired on, right? And like you ended up leaving and all this other stuff, but like I still had friends there, right? And it's kind of funny how you meet people there, right? So in my head, I have this like concept of that place being so fun and I enjoyed myself there and all of that. I really didn't, Jade, right? Like, did I love my boss? Did I love what I was doing? Did I love my partners? No, I didn't. But I loved the people. I
You had
loved my
friends
team.
there.
I had friends.
Yeah.
And like to this day, the people I met there, I'm still friends with, like outside of a workplace setting. And like I just had girls' night last night with one of them, right? And it was so much fun. And I was like, and we were cracking up because now I'm trying to go back to that place so I could have lunch with her every day, you know? And
Yeah, I
like,
love that.
because it's different. And I think now I just don't feel as comfortable with the team because I have not clicked with anyone except for one person and they work remotely.
Mm,
And so for me, that's kind of where it's interesting. I don't know, but I'm also very picky when it comes to friends.
yeah,
Like if
I
you do something to me, like you break my trust somehow, you leave me at a, when we're out and you don't tell me and I'm like searching for you, that's not okay. Like you know what I mean? So like I think I hold my friends up to a high standard and if you meet that standard, like I'm here for you no matter what.
mhm.
But if you don't meet that standard, like we're an acquaintance, like we're not like friends. You know what I mean?
I understand. Can I tell you, I have such a hard time with acquaintances.
Tell me.
I This has been an ongoing conversation with me and my therapist for a while because for me, I can only see black and white. Like it either is or it isn't. So either you're my best friend and I love you and I'm gonna ride for you for whatever, or like that's like you're just over there. I don't know how to do acquaintances. Like I don't know how to not have someone be like a really great friend. So if I can't put you in that really great friend bucket, then
Hmm.
I see like you're just not like we're just not. There's no like I don't know how to not be like really great friends. And so for me the struggle has been like I definitely am very picky with people. I only have like like a handful of friends. And all
Me
of
too.
them, yeah, and all of them like I would trust them with my social security number. Like I would like I fully trust these people. And so for me not to be able to do that with other people, I'm like, what's the point? Like, I feel like I can't fully be myself with these people. And that to me feels like a waste of time. And I can't find a middle ground, or I haven't been able to find a middle ground where it's like, oh, we're just, what is it? Associates? Not associates. What is it?
Acquaintances?
Acquaintances. We're just
Associates? Are you
acquaintances.
going into
Associates?
business
I
now?
know, we're just associates, okay? Yeah, we're just acquaintances. Where it's just like, well, then I don't want to talk to you. That feels like I'm making small talk with you. I hate doing that. Like, if I can't like tell you all of my deepest fears and you tell me then I'm like, what are we doing? I don't want to talk about the weather with you. I would rather be quiet. So that is something I've been trying to figure out because I mean, sometimes it comes off a little harsh where I'm just like, okay, well, I don't know you like that. So why am I talking to you? Like it can be a little rough sometimes, but I'm working through it. But that's where so like I understand where you're coming from, where like you're very strict with like your friends and stuff like that. So am I. And honestly, the older I get, the more standards I have for friendships. It's really hard to make friends and like be able to trust people because you just really never know.
You know how you get that gut feeling? Do you do
Yeah.
that or is it just me?
No,
Like,
like okay, so I maybe am a little bit different. Like for me, um, and I realize this is extreme, and I'm gonna say it because it's a safe space, and this is where we're supposed to talk about these things. But you know how like in the court of law, like you're guilty until you're not guilty until proven what guilty or something? Isn't that
uh-huh.
yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, in the court of Jade, um
I love that you have your own court.
in the court of Jade, I hate you until you're proven not hateable. So like off top, I just like come like when I meet people, I'm just like, I don't know. I'm suspicious of everyone. And then like as I like ease into it, I'm like, okay. So like I'll never like start off and be like, oh, we're gonna be best friends. I'm always like, I don't know that I like you. Let me see. So I had to like ease myself into it. So I think we're a bit opposite on that one. Um, yeah,
I
that's
just I will typically know I can't think of a person off the top of my head that I did not like and I grew to like later. I
fair.
think for yeah, it's just like the first time I meet someone, like I can just tell by their vibe if I'm gonna like them or not.
Hmm.
Like I will just know. I don't know, like my gut just tells me like they're cool, they're a good person, like give them a chance, or I'll be like, nah, something's weird about them.
Intuition. That's all.
Like, and I don't know what might be weird or something like that. I just kind of know. And those people automatically are like, okay, like you could be my acquaintance. And like if we have like we're invited to the same event, great, I'll chat it up with you. If um I don't know, we're at a work event or something, I could chat with you, but we are not gonna be like best friends.
Mm,
Like it's just when I see them. Like I'm not gonna be like, hey, let's hang out or whatever. Like I don't have the time or the energy to deal with that or do that. So
I feel that. I respect that.
and I feel like I'm a little harsh because
You're
like
not. Aileen, if you're
my
harsh, then what am
mom,
I? What am I? What am
well, me and
I?
you are so similar in
We
this
are.
because I feel like we have very small circles of friends of like I will do almost anything for my friends, right? If they call me and they're like, I need you to bail me out of jail, I'll be there,
You
right?
wouldn't
I'd be
even ask
like,
me what I did, huh? You'd be like, I'm on my
no,
way.
I
I could have been the person who did it, like for real. I'm like, Aileen, I committed a serious crime, and you'd be like, Jade, it wasn't your fault. I got you. I'm gonna get you out of jail, like that.
yeah, that would be me. I would be like, where are you? Let me go get you out, right? And because you're my friend, right? And
Yeah,
so it's very different versus if someone else were to call me and I did not really consider you my friend, I'd be like, good luck.
you'd be like,
Like,
why do you have my phone number memorized? That's the real question. That's the real question. I'd be like, why do you even know my phone number?
yeah.
That's hilarious. Can I ask you, I have a couple of questions for you just to, get deeper
Okay.
into the conversation. Okay. So, can you share with us a specific experience where a friendship significantly influenced your well-being? This can either be positively or negatively. And what did you learn from the experience?
Um, okay, I'm just gonna talk about the first one that
Okay,
came
for
to
sure.
mind. So I would say this person is like one of my best friends. I actually met her when we worked together. She was our senior intern. And I would say at the time we were not like super good friends. Like I
Mm-hmm.
felt like I was more of like the new intern group and she was more like the senior intern group. And then she left and came back and it was during COVID where we actually I think really became good friends and we would walk every single day. Like I'm like okay, like that's all you could do, right? And so we would go outside and walk and like we found out that the grocery store would be the only place that had a bathroom open because the parks even locked their bathrooms and everything.
Oh,
We'd go for like long walks, like at least 5 miles, right? Because there's nothing else to do. And we're like, yeah, yeah. So I was like, just come over and we'll go for a walk.
can I
So
just pause you right now? The face that I
yeah,
just
yeah.
made when you said 5 miles was ludicrous. Like, I was just like, what did she just say to me right now? Anyways, I just wanted to let you know because we can't see each other. Like, my entire face just scrunched up. The way that you just dropped
You're
a
like,
5 mile walk is crazy. Anyways, continue.
you just know how bored I am. So I was like, I need to get out. But we became like super close. But the funny thing is, even when we weren't close, right? Like you knew me when I first started out in the workforce and I was an intern. Like, I was so scared to send out an email. Okay, it was ridiculous. So I like dubbed her my official email advisor. Like after I got hired on, after she came back to work for the company, and like I'd be like, "Hey, can you just like read this?" And she's like a wordsmith. Okay, like she was Chat GBT before Chat GBT existed.
Yes.
And I was like, "Hey," and she'd be like, "Oh, just like rephrase it like this." And it was like so quick. And I would sit there and like think about it. I'm like, I don't even know how to rephrase this to make it sound good. And so anyway, it's funny because she is the sweetest, kindest person and legit like means well and wants people to succeed, right? But she's from New York and she's outspoken. Like she's not if you're messing with her, she's not going to let you mess with her, right? And she stands up for herself. And you know me, back in the day, I was too scared. Like I was like I can't do that. I'd be like just yell at me, it's fine. Like I'll accept it, right? And I remember like she would stand up for herself. And then like so anyway, long story short, I think I don't know if I've ever told her this, but she's actually helped me grow so much because now like sometimes I'll be sitting like when I moved companies, I would be sitting there. I was like, man, I'm scared of saying this crap. And I would think of like I would have a little version of her saying like just say it, just do it. It's fine.
Hmm.
Like and I would just say it. Like or like even now like I'm totally different. Like when people are acting crazy, I tell them they're acting crazy. I'm like, "Excuse me? Like I hope you're not saying that to me." Like and so I would say she's a friend that I met and I think in the beginning, like I liked her and I thought she was cool, but we weren't super close until later. And I think she's kind of indirectly shaped who I am now
Oh,
because she taught me to stand up for myself
I love
in an
that.
indirect way. But yes, she like, you know what? I should say thank you to her
You should. I
because
mean, you should, or you
I
should just
really
send her
should.
this episode. To be honest with you,
She's going to be like, listen, she already listens to
she'll
this.
hear it then.
And
Hey,
did I tell you? Like, I was like, how in the world did you know about this? Because I didn't say anything. And she's like, oh, someone found it and sent it to me. And then she's like, I loved listening to it. I
I
feel like
love
I'm
that.
sitting there with you guys.
I love
And I was
that.
like, oh my God, I can't believe you found this. Like, it's fine. It's fine. So
I love that.
anyway,
And I feel like she'll be getting her roses because I feel like it's nice to hear how I feel like you're right. Like maybe
I
we
hope
don't
she's
share.
blushing right now. Okay.
Yeah, like I'm glad that you were able to share how much she impact your well-being and like be able to like feel like you could stand up for yourself because that really is important, especially just like it just yeah,
100%.
it's a lot.
Like, and I
Yeah.
think a lot of young people, and maybe not now, but like our generation in the workforce, we really are taught to like be quiet and just follow the parade or whatever's going on, right? And I
Hmm.
think seeing her being so strong as an individual and to stand up for herself, she taught me that. And even now, like I used to second guess everything. And now I'm just like I just say it and move on. I'm like it is what it is. Bye. Like and so it takes out that worry, that second guessing from making yourself like do that. That it's I don't know. It's awesome. If you guys all need a friend like her.
I listen, I love that. Okay, I have another question for you.
Okay.
How do you prioritize maintaining friendships in your life? And how has that
Ooh.
impacted your overall sense of well-being? Give it to me. Yep.
That's a hard one. So with my current job, I travel a lot. As you guys know, I'm always somewhere either in the US or somewhere in the world. Um, so I think it's hard to do because a lot of the times my time at home is limited. Um, and everyone knows I suck at texting. I suck at calling people. It just, I'm sorry. Like, I leave the phone and I continue on and do whatever I'm doing. And I leave the phone in my room all day and I'm doing all this stuff and I forget. And then it is what it is. I think everyone that's my friend already knows that and just kind of accepts it. And I'm like, sorry, it is what it is. But I think when I'm home, if you are like a true friend to me or you're hosting something and if I can go, I'll go, right? I
Hmm.
think there's a friend that I had since high school or since middle school. We became friends in 7th grade when I moved. I'm still her friend to this day. Like I went to her wedding, her baby shower and all this stuff. And it was funny because I got invited to 2 baby showers on the same day. One, you just like one was in like the valley, and then the other one was in like Orange County.
Okay, for the people that don't know like the how far that is, give us like a time. Like how long would it take you to get from the valley to Orange County?
Like 2 hours.
Okay.
That's what it took me. It took me over 2 hours because I hit a little bit of traffic.
Okay.
So I was like, man, like I can't miss hers. The one was scheduled earlier than the other one. So one I think started like at noon or something like that, and then the other one didn't start until like 2:30 or something. And I was like, I can't miss her baby shower. Like like, you know what I mean? Like I just can't miss it. So I was like, do I decline the other one since I got the invite later? Like, what should I do? And so my friend at work, actually, like I was talking to her because I was shopping at the store and I was like, what do I buy these children? And so when I was there, she's like, you can make it to both. She said, show up early to the one in the valley, only stay for an hour, leave there, head directly to the other one, let her know you're going to be a little bit late, but you make an appearance at both. And so I think that kind of explains it is if I have the time and I really care about you, I'm going to make it. It's one way or another,
Yeah.
right? Versus like if you're an acquaintance, I don't really care. I'm like, I'll see you when I see you. But I think it's hard for me. But I think one thing I need to get better at is just like kind of checking in with people, like, hey, how's it going?
Hmm.
Right? Like, how you doing? And I think I'm so involved with everything that's going on that I'm not very good at that. But but when I am with, when I guess I do have time with that person, I feel like it is quality time. And
Yeah.
it's not just like, hey, and it's like small talk and then I just leave, you know?
Yeah. And Aileen, I feel like I just want to take some of the pressure off of you. Because I feel like I do the exact same thing. And it just is what it is. Like I just don't like texting people all the time. First of all, I don't want to do that. That sounds absolute. I actually hate when people just be like, "Hey," I'm like, "Hey, what? Like, what do you want? Like, what are we doing here?" Unless you're like, literally, I text my best friend stupid things all the time. Like, literally, she won't even say, "Hey," like it's just one continuous stream of consciousness going down our text messages. Other than that, I do not really want to just have conversations with people throughout the day. I will see like if we're making plans, fine. But like, I agree with you. Like, when I see you, it's a great time. It doesn't feel like we missed the beat. But
Right.
first, I don't like being on the phone. I really don't. It just, because I don't know how to get off the phone. And so then I'm like, we're on the phone, and I'm like, how do I get off? And so I have to pretend like I'm going to take a shower, and I like turn on the shower. I do the whole bit. I turn on the shower so you can hear the shower. It's a whole thing. I don't do all that. So like, but then I look like a jerk because like I'll start texting people, like they'll be like, "Hey," and I'm like, "Hey," and they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, and I'll go to sleep or something, and then reply back in like 4 to 5 business days. And I just didn't want text, to be honest with you. I don't like texting people. But
Well, I'm glad I'm not the only one because for
no,
me, I'm the absolute worst. And it's sad thing is like I just leave my phone and like I'll be on my phone probably in the morning to check what's happened or at night, like before I go to bed, which I know is probably really bad for my sleep or whatever. But those are the two moments in the day where I could like look at my phone and be like, oh, okay. And then like you'll typically get a response then. But some people will text me and be like, hey, like, or they'll like legitimately be asking me a question about plans or something. And I'm just like, sorry, I just left my phone all day.
I think that in this situation, that's the important part of like, this is an acquaintance. They don't understand. For me, if I text you and you don't text back for 3 days, I understand your texting style. Nothing in my
Yeah.
head is like, Aileen is being shady. She's not replying back to me because XYZ. That does not go through my head at all. In my head, I'm like, Aileen be taking forever to reply back. She'll reply back later. That's what goes through my head. And it's no shade, like it really, it's just I understand your texting style, and that's what it is. Versus if you're texting an acquaintance, they're like, what is taking this girl so long? This is rude. I can't believe I texted her and
Hmm.
she didn't text me back. And that's why I don't like having acquaintances, because I don't want to have to entertain you. Okay, we are like just chill friends, you know what I'm saying? I forgot what they call
Uh-huh.
it, where it's low effort friends. You know what I'm saying? We talk when we talk, that's it. When we see each other, it's a rah-rah good time, but we don't need to I don't need to always check in on you. But if you need to talk, I'm here for you. Does that make sense? Where it's like if you reach out to me, I'm gonna answer for sure. Like if you're like, Jade, I need to talk to you, I'm like, okay, what do you need to talk
Hmm.
about? I got you. But the whole I just wanted to see how your day was going. My mom checks on me, I'm fine. Get fucked. Like Come on. So we're fine. I'm fine. So I don't want you to feel like you need to change your texting. So I feel like people have things to do. Like we have big girl jobs. Like we don't need to be on the phone. Why are you on your phone all the time? Like what are we doing here? That speaks more on them than to you, to be honest with you. Don't even worry about it. Don't change yourself. You're great just the way you are.
I think the
Okay.
only time I really do reach out to people is if like I think about them constantly. I'm like, something's going on with them. I need
Mm-hmm.
to reach out to them. Otherwise, I don't.
That's yeah. Okay, I feel you on that. Touche, touche. You got me. Okay, I have one more question for you before we wrap up our episode.
Okay,
And I feel
let's
like
have it.
you kind of touched on this one, but I want to know, how do you handle challenges or conflicts within your friendships? And what impacts does resolving or not resolving such issues have on your overall well-being?
Jade, you're killing me.
Listen.
I know what I should be doing, but I don't do that.
No, tell us what you
So
do. Tell us what you do. Be honest, be for real. Go ahead.
I'm be for real.
Okay.
If there's a challenge, depends on the severity of it, right?
Mhm.
On what it is. And I think it takes a lot to really piss me off to a point where I'm like, I don't like that. So for me, I I think I've only had like one like significant challenge, but I think your friends come and go. And one time I had like a really good friend, right? And something happened, and I think for me, like they knew I was pissed and I just couldn't talk to them. But then if you can't build that trust back up, I think for me it's I kind of just ghost you, or I like slowly start backing away from you
I knew you were going to say that.
because I just one like this is how I feel, and I don't want people to like if I go to you, Jade, and I'm like, Jade, I'm really mad at you because blah 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 blah, and you hurt my feelings. You're gonna be like, well, not you specifically, but a lot of people would be like, well, I don't know why like they would be defensive of it, right?
Mhm.
And for like they're also not responsible to feel like deal with my feelings, right? So I think for me, I'm just like, oh, I didn't like that, or like, and like I said, it depends on the severity of it. But if it's something stupid, like I'm like, I don't really care, and like we keep going. But if it's something significant that I was like, ooh, I really don't like that, right? Like if we went somewhere and then like you went home with a guy or something and didn't tell me, and I'm like stuck in this place all alone.
Aileen, that
I,
has happened to us in on a trip. What are you talking about?
I
Do
know,
you
but
remember
guess what?
that?
If that were you, Jade, we would not be friends.
No,
After
me
that
and
trip, I
you.
would ghost you.
No, me and you were really like, I can't believe that happened. We're just standing there like, well, what are we going to do? Where is she? We're just standing there like a
Right.
bunch of moms. Whoa, this is inappropriate. We need to find her. Yeah, we're
Right.
stressed. We
We were
stressed out.
stressed. That was very
It was so stressed.
stressful.
I was way too young to be that stressed out. That was crazy. Like I was like, this is listen, we came here together, we leave together. What is going on? What do you mean?
The whole time I was thinking, what the hell are we going to tell her mom? Like
Exactly.
when we get back, because we're
Oh,
leaving. And,
crazy.
but the whole thing is like something like that. I'm just going to ghost you. I'm not going to talk to you anymore because I think it's ridiculous. And if you were to come to me and be like, hey, what's wrong? I would tell you like that's unacceptable. Like I can't trust you, and I really don't care to like how does someone do that in a foreign country? And we're like five girls on this trip and you just leave and don't tell anyone and then turn off your cell phone. Like we thought you were
Stressed,
dead.
stressed, stressed out.
I'm just like what the, you know what I mean? So to me, she wasn't my real friend. She was a friend of a friend that joined the trip. So I'm like, whatever. But to me, like I would just I'm like, I'm not gonna talk to you anymore. Right?
Yeah.
Like that's not cool. And I'd probably talk to her until the end of the trip. And then after that, be like, peace out. Like, I don't know. I would just kind of disappear. And like if someone's like, oh, are you free? I'd be like, oh no, I'm really busy. Sorry. Like
Got
I
it.
can't make it. Right. And it would just be that. But I know like you should probably confront the situation and that sort of thing. And I think if you're a really good friend of mine, I do tend to be like, hey, I'm just really upset about the situation and how it was handled. Like, I just need time. And
Yeah,
for
it's
me, I need like a month or two to get through my thoughts and everything. And then I make a decision of, do I still want this person in my life or do I not? Like, am
mhm,
I okay that they will never be in my life anymore, experience anything that I go through? And if I'm okay with that, then we're done. If I'm not, we'll probably be friends again, but I won't trust you. And you turn more into an acquaintance for me and not a true friend.
mm, yeah. I I have no notes. I agree with you on that one. I really do. I think that
We're just
it
crazy, Jade. Me and you
I'm
are like, no.
I'm very like, yeah, it is what it is. I've come to terms with this person that I am. Like, it'd be like that sometimes. I'm either like 100% or I'm like, no, I'm over it. But like, if it's someone that I honestly didn't really care about, like if I'm just like, you're just here, we just happen to be in the same place. You're right. Like, I'm just gonna be like, whatever. We never really had to see each other again. You're annoying. Like, I'm gonna write about you in my journal. That's it. But if but if it's my friend, yeah, I'll be like, you know what? You stress me out. Please don't do that again. Like that's
Mhm.
we will communicate these things because that's what I've been working on in therapy. So I would definitely try and communicate to my best friend. And I think that or to my friends, like I would do that, but I think that the thing that like goes along with like having friends that you trust is knowing that like and I think you brought this up earlier is like the honesty that you're able to give to them. You could be honest and be like, listen, this stressed me out and it not be like a I know how each and every one of my friends would react and none of them would be like defensive. They'd be like, "Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. My bad." And we would just keep it pushing.
Right.
So like if it was someone else, I'd be like, and they reacted differently, I'd be like, you know what, I'm not even trying to do this. I gotta go.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think
100.
I think that having friends that you can have these serious conversations with, it is really good for your well-being because I think that at the end of the day, I know that it's not going to turn into like a, well, you're just like being like this. Like, it's not going to turn into a fight. It's going to like, it's a conversation. It'll be a healthy conversation and we'll move forward. And I think that that's important to know that about your friends is that you can have conversations with them and it's not going to stress you out. It's just going to be like, okay, I hear you, and we'll move forward. So,
Yeah, and I feel like friends are just there for you in your hardest times, in your happiest times. And for me, my friends are really like poor things. They have to hear me vent about my job and all this stuff all the time. But I think they get you through these times and they're someone you can talk to, gain advice from. And
mhm,
I think for me, especially, like, I'm like, what do you think? What about this? What? And like, they'll come back and give me like the best feedback or exactly what I needed to hear versus other people. Like, you don't want to hear it from your family, right? Or your significant other or whatever. But if your friend tells you, it hits harder. You're just like, oh crap. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah,
And I don't know. I think your friends, if you have the right friends, I should say, that are truly a good friend for you, I think they just they make you so much happier. And it might just be like them texting you a funny meme or like going on a walk or even going shopping, right? And you bring a friend and you're like, do I look ridiculous in this outfit? Or they help you build an outfit and you're like, oh, you know what I mean? They
yeah,
just bring you joy in these small little significant ways. And I think for me, those are the things I remember, right? Like I remember like the small funny things like you would do as we were interns, how like one day you showed up and you're like, you see this? And you put up the palms of your hands. And I was
Aileen.
like, what do you mean? Like, what do I see? And you're like, you see this? I have M's on the palms of my hand. You know what that means? Money. I'm be rich, right? And it's like those little moments that I'm like, Jade, you're hilarious.
God,
Like,
I was such.
uh,
No, go ahead. Sometimes, like, you bring up things, and I'm like, I forgot that I did that. But honestly, like, to this day, I would probably still do it. So I can't even be like, oh my God, that is so 10 years ago. I would do that right now in 2024. I'd be like, yeah, I would love to sit here and be like, I wouldn't do that now. I would for sure do that right now. If someone walked up, I'd be like, do you see my hand right now? It's giving money. Do you know what that means? Watch how you talk to me. Like, crazy. Crazy. Anyways,
But it's like, and it was funny because at like you knew my boss at the time. At that moment in time, like you guys used to always be like you're on cube arrest and you'd be walking around eating churros and kebabs on sticks or whatever. And I was like sitting in the cube working all the time. So I feel like at that point in time, you and like some other people that I'm still friends with, like would bring like these little glimpses of like funniness and joy to what I was experiencing, right? And I think
Mhm.
it's funny, like I know we talked about it when we first started this podcast, is how your friends can come in and out of your life. And I feel like that's kind of what happened with me and you from the time we met. We were really good friends until I think you moved away, right?
Mhm.
And then we kind of like you were doing your whole grad school thing. I was working and doing whatever the hell I was doing. And then when I moved, I was like, "Are you up here? I need a friend." Right? And you're like, "No, girl, I already moved back to Southern California." I was like, "Oh my God." And I was like, "Great. I have to make new friends up here." But then, like when you moved back, I remember it like and we went on the hike and you got scared of the bug and all this stuff and we ended up drinking margaritas like
So
and went
me.
back to and I was like it felt like no time had passed even though it was
Mhm.
like 2 years, right?
Yeah,
And
I think it was longer than that, honestly. Like, I feel like it had to be at least like
it was
3
probably 3
years, because
years.
yeah, I feel like it was a while.
Yeah, it was. And I felt like you came back into my life when I needed you to be there. And you like felt like Southern California for me. Like I was back at home versus prior to that, yes, I had made a few like those friends that I told you about, but it wasn't like my friends, right? It was like,
Mhm.
okay, you're still new, like we're not real friends just yet. And that's when I was like, oh, like I felt like I was home and like I felt like no time had passed. And it was like we were still interns.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is awesome. And then it's like now we're doing this and we kind of just got reconnected. So,
Yeah, I think you brought up a really good point, that, or like a feeling that I also feel sometimes as well. Um, where it's like they'll be like, if you make a new friend, it's hard not to compare them to your old friend. And so you'll be like, I don't know, like they'll like I'll make like work friends and I'm like, okay, but I've had like deeper connections with other friends. So it's hard not to compare your connections with other people.
hmm
And sometimes it's just kind of like, all right, well, you're not like my friend. Like we're getting there, but you're like, there's an uncomfortable time in friendships where you're like, you still have to like get there. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to learn about them and be like, can I trust you? Like, how does this go? So there is like
right.
that uncomfortable part. And I hate that uncomfortable part. And I think that's why I only have like friends that I've been friends with for like 10 years or nothing at all, to be honest with
hmm
you. So I mean, I think
Except for your new
everyone,
friend.
except for my new friend, and she's great. You know, you sometimes you have to build up to it. But I think that you're right. I agree with you. I think that friends do bring an element of like happiness and just like, I don't know, they just make things just a little bit better. When things are not great, they make things better. When things are great, they just make things better again. So
hmm
I'm very grateful for all of my friends. I feel like that'll be my closing statement. Aileen, do you have any final words of wisdom for our friends?
I was going to say be grateful for your friends and let them know because I don't think we appreciate them as much as we should.
Oh, yeah, I love that.
Thanks for
Aileen,
being my friend, Jade.
I was just gonna say, oh, thank you, Aileen. I love you so much. Thank you for being my friend. You do so much for me, and like you just like are just the best. I just love talking to you all the time. And honestly, this podcast wouldn't be anything without Aileen being like, Jade, you should do the podcast. And I was like, will you do it with me? And she was like, I'll do it with you, Jade. Let's do a podcast together. And I was like, it'll be just like we're sitting on the couch. And you're like, yes. And I was like, okay, because honestly, I want to start a podcast so bad, and I just can do it. And then you told me to see how friends
See?
make things better. You see, I wouldn't have done it
Yes.
if it wasn't for you. Honest to God. And we're doing great. So thank you. It is a um what is it? Is it a testament to our friendship? Is that the right wording? Did I
Yes.
say it right?
Good
Look at
job.
me being all deep. Look at me. Okay, well, I'm gonna end it here before I say something stupid. Aileen, anything else before we wrap this up?
No, that's it. Go say
Okay.
thank you to your friends.
All right. Well, thank you, friend. Thank you, friends, for listening. If you like this podcast, give us a thumbs up on wherever you listen to us. If you don't like this podcast, just go ahead and close out of the app. That's fine. And if you do, if you do like this podcast, maybe send it to your friend. Maybe send this episode to your friend so that they can listen. Sharing our episode really helps us grow. With that being said, we hope that you have a good day or a good night, and we hope that you are well. Bye.
Bye.